Hello friends, today we will discuss about the concept of freedom of trade and commerce in the countries where federal system of governance exists. Now, firstly, we can discuss on the primary topic, why do we need freedom of trade and commerce in federal countries, or where in the countries where federal system of governance exists, or where federal constitutions exist. Because in federations there may at times the states may look after their own interests, and due to which local interest may prevail over the larger national socio-economic interest. So, and due to the local interest prevailing over the larger socio-economic national interest, some states or federal constituent units may try to impose certain restrictions, or can impose such restrictions which may not be good for larger national socio-economic interest, or may try to impose certain restrictions on the freedom of trade and commerce that is going through that state, and in consequence that may hamper the larger socio-economic national interest. So our constitution famous were cognizant about the situation that may occur. So specifically in part 13 of the constitution, the concept of freedom and commerce was put. Now when we talk about the concept of freedom and commerce that is existing in other federal constitutions, in US we see that in US constitution there is a specific commerce clause inserted in the US constitution. What does this commerce clause mean? That it does say that the freedom of trade and commerce throughout the territory of United States of America shall be free, and it is without any hindrance. When we come to Canada, we see that similar provision exists under the British North American Act. So it also ensures that in Canada the freedom of trade and commerce exists, and there is unhindered flow of trade and commerce within Canada. Now, when we go to Australia, the Australian constitution has similar freedom of trade and commerce clause. So overall we see that all the major countries where federal system of governance works, or where the constitution is federal in character, this particular provision of freedom of trade and commerce exists. Likewise in India we have this feature of freedom of trade and commerce being put under part 13 of the constitution, which relates to freedom of trade and commerce. It is also noteworthy to recall that under the Canadian constitution the states do not have power to levy indirect taxes. This particular feature of Canadian constitution has been envisaged by the constitution makers of Canada, keeping in view that at times the state may try to prejudice the larger national interest by imposing unreasonable indirect taxes that may hamper the overall nation's economic prosperity and well-being. So in the Canadian constitution, they altogether didn't give the power to levy indirect taxes to states. When we come to India, we see that Article 301 of Part 13 of the Indian Constitution says that there is absolute freedom of trade and commerce in India with certain limitations that are envisaged under Article 302 to 304.